Hey everyone, it's Austin and welcome back to day 150 on my journey to 2000. I'll be playing chess every single day until I reach the goal, so do not forget to like the video, comment if you have something to say, subscribe if you want to see more content quite like this. Alright, let's swap the scene. And today, what I would like to get started with is analyzing some games that I played off camera. And before we even get into that, I have to show off what my fiance got me for Christmas. So, focus. Look at that. There's going to be some more stuff that she got me that I will jump on the camera with to show off. But for now, in future videos, you will certainly see me enjoying hot beverages out of this mug. Let me know in the comments down below if you would buy a mug like this, because I'm thinking about setting up a Shopify store. Alright, so I played this game on Christmas Eve. Nah, the day before Christmas Eve. Because I had some extra time and I sat down with the black pieces, was able to squeeze in a rapid game. So we had a semi-Slav, and we went for the anti-Moscow. And this is all theory so far. E4 is the best move because black doesn't have a pawn in the center anymore and you need to be punishing black for that. So already I'm feeling very comfortable here. B5 protects the pawn. Basically the ideas in this type of a position are to create technical complications, enjoy the more space on the queen side, kind of play around the pawns that you've created that are, honestly, it's a very unique pawn structure, unlike any other type of game that I've played before. And, yeah, we'll go through the game and explain some more of the nuances in the position, but for now, we're up a pawn. If we get into an end game, we're just up a pawn, and we have a 4-on-2 on the queen side. Absolutely massive advantage, so, yeah, b5 is the best move. a4, very common. Now, a mistake that a lot of people would play if they're new to the opening is a6 in this position. And you're actually not defending the pawn at all. I'm going to give the engine a second to think before it calls it a mistake. Because if they take and you take, they can just take the pawn because it's pinned to the rook. So you're not actually defending the pawn. So that's why I went with bishop b4 here to pin the knight. Now, more accurate would have been b4, basically creating a passed pawn, creating like a massive pawn wedge from the get-go. Knight b1, bishop a6 to defend this pawn, and these two pawns are very strong, but I played bishop b4. He goes queen c2, which I felt like didn't do anything. So now what I want to do in order to be able to defend this adequately with the pawn was get my pieces developed and then push this pawn. So I pushed the pawn first because, well, the knight is pinned, so he wouldn't be able to jump in and do that anymore. So this is a mistake because, like I said, this is just an extremely strong pawn formation now, especially after I go bishop here. Knight d2 breaks the pin, but I'm just in time with bishop b7 defending my rook. f3. I think his idea was just to prevent this move or prevent any weirdness on this diagonal. Definitely very weakening move. I go knight bd7, a little bit less accurate than knight c6, but this is typically where you put your knight in these types of positions. So that's what I did. And then in this position, I was thinking, okay, he made too many knight moves. He made this weakening pawn move, and I'm already thinking critically. I'm like, he is doing something wrong. What is wrong with what he's doing? And I identified immediately that the weakest point in his position is this e3 square, because not only is it a loose pawn, but it's not defended by any of his pieces, not easily defendable. And I could also hit this pawn and exploit the pin at the same time if I get a knight here. But if I put a knight there now, he's just going to take it. So I go here so that on the next move I could go, and if he takes the knight, I can retake with another knight. So he castles, and I do exactly what I said. And then this is a blunder, because if you calculate out the entire capture sequence, I just win an extra piece, even if I let him take the rook. For instance, takes. You can't even take because the queen's hanging. So let's say you go here, 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 and I'm up a piece. You don't have time to move your bishop because your queen is under attack. It wants queen h7 here, hitting that pawn in the corner. But then knight b3 comes with tempo on the rook, and it's just all bad for white in this position. It looks kind of scary, but any check like this, we can just go up, and if we trade queens here, obviously we're just crushing. So that's not what happened. I saw that if I kicked this bishop away, there was no way for him to defend the pawn on the next move anyway. So I thought that this was a great in-between move. It turned out to be a miss, because he could have gone back, and then it would have been not as bad for him. So I just miscalculated that, but it's still very good for black. It's -2. He makes an inaccuracy and takes. I take back with the knight, like I said, keeping the threat on the pawn. He now has to move his bishop. This comes in with a fork. He gives check. And this was a very testing situation. I felt like all I need to do is not choke, and I am just up so much material here that I have space in the center. I felt like I was just crushing as long as I wasn't getting mated in a stupid way. So I just spent, I don't know how long, 30 seconds. And I decided that going forward with the king was safe. And it is. You can even go towards the king, or towards the queen with the king, and it'd be completely safe. But, you know, no fear. Go out into the center of the board. And I was realizing that the king on c8 is actually extremely safe. So in this position, like it shows right on the board, I'm threatening to win the exchange. I'm threatening to win a piece. And he actually just resigned in this position because the threats were insurmountable. So that was one game that I played, which felt amazing. I mean, you guys can see just by my time usage that I was really not struggling with the same type of nervousness that I struggle with when I play live. I don't know, it was almost like I let the position play itself a lot more intuitively, while still, you know, like, this sucks, missing this move. But obviously, if he goes back here, I'm still winning a pawn and an exchange. After king d7. Yeah, it's just crushing. d e4, threatening that pawn. It doesn't even want me to take the rook yet. It wants me to go here. Yeah, just anyway, I was super happy with this, and this was a game where I was actually up on the clock by 3 minutes when he resigned. So that was the first game that I wanted to take a look at. Now this is a game that I had with the white pieces immediately. Well, it was the next rapid game that I played after that. I only played 2 rapid games off camera, but this one was yesterday on Christmas. So I'm actually coming off a bit of a, I don't want to call it a cold, some sort of ailment right now. I'm still very congested. My energy levels are very low. I feel very, like, spacey. But yesterday, after sleeping for 5 hours in the middle of the day, I felt like, and my fiance was at her family's house. Naturally, it was Christmas, but I went to her mom's house with her, but there was no way I was making it to her dad's house. So I came home, slept, and then fit in a chess game. Had the white pieces, played the London. He played like the copycat type of situation. I've explained so many times that I really like playing c4 against this type of stuff. A lot of times you can play c4 right away, and then here, and it's the same sort of an idea. You don't even need to play e3 for whatever reason. It kind of felt like I wanted to play e3 in this game. Not great for the sake of consistency. And then when they take, this idea usually goes out the window for me. Because any queen b3 stuff can be met with knight a5 pretty easily. And my bishop isn't really doing much on this diagonal. A lot of times it's helpful to reposition to b5. Maybe even sometimes slide back to b3, but basically, now that he's opened up the c-file for me, a lot of times I'm trying to create play on the c-file. You can see how things are converging here nicely. And he's really accelerated my development for me, allowing me to create some sort of these threats a lot of times. He pins the knight, which I like. It prevents any knight b5 type of stuff. I go with here. Like I said, I'm really trying to accelerate the queenside development and get some work going here. So I recapture with the rook. This isn't accurate according to the engine. Neither is this, but I felt like I was building up a crazy attack on this guy. So now I have the opportunity to double his pawns, so I do. And this is a big blunder. So pause the video here and try to find the move for black. He didn't find it in the game. Obviously, I didn't see it either. Because I feel like it's a pretty hard move to find. It's not something that would typically get played in any of these types of positions. Alright. The move is bishop e4. Basically forking my rooks. Like he's going to win an exchange at the least from that. So he does not play that. He goes knight d5. Cutting off his bishop's vision of the diagonal anyway, which I thought was very helpful. So here I went back with the bishop. Again, still having no idea about this move. Neither of us were seeing this move very much, but I wanted to keep the bishop alive. Obviously the knight's defending this pawn now, so I couldn't take it with the bishop quite yet. But I love this pressure that gets exerted by the dark square bishop in these types of structures, so I wanted to hang on to it. Again, his best move is bishop e4. He's still not seeing it. He goes rook e8, and now all of his threats of that kind of a move are gone. So I officially made it past my blunder, scot-free for no good reason. And yeah, now he starts kind of trying to overcomplicate it, in my opinion. Really worrying about this pawn. I agree. Queen b8, rook b8, really trying to create some counterplay on the b file, I think was his best way to go. But he goes rook e7, I castle. Rook b8. I wanted to go queen d2. This is a multifaceted move in my opinion. It's got vision on the b4 square. Obviously, nothing's stopping him from going knight b4 in this position. But there could be some positions where it's helpful to have control of this square, defending this pawn, and also moving the queen out of the way so the other rook can rock on over to c1. So rook b6. Again, I felt like he was just really worried about this pressure that I had, and instead of trying to play actively, he just kind of was trying to turtle up. I just traded because I knew that having the open c-file seemed very good. This was a bit of a prophylactic move. I didn't want to worry about any knight b4 type of stuff. Now he goes bishop b4, but now I'm going into the center with the knight, threatening this fork. He moves the knight out of the way, defending the fork, but this is an opportunity for me to force a trade. So I do. Again, I'm up a pawn, and I have complete control over the queen side. He has back rank issues, just absolutely dominating him on the queen side here. He goes in, knight e4, I go here, because I calculated that if he takes, I have time for this. And I did accurately calculate that. If he goes here, you can just step over with the king. And, you know, the best move for him here is to just go over here to make sure that the queen is at least defended when you take it. And then it's just this, and the game is completely lost for black. So I was really proud of queen c2. He just tries to interrupt the flow of things. Let's say the battery on the c file. So I just take with the pawn. He pushes to make sure that the c file remains closed, but I found a great combination. I wanted to make a luff for my king first. Went rook d6 to occupy the new open file. Went here to attack the pawn. He goes there to defend the back rank because I'm also threatening to win the queen at the same time as going here. I take the pawn because I calculated that after this, which is what he played, I have this move, which isn't even the best move, but it forces another trade. And I mean, this position is just completely crushing. It's almost +7. I go c6. I'm giving him no opportunity for counterplay. I'm like, I'm pushing my pawn. You're either trading queens with me or I'm checkmating you. So he decides for checkmate. I go here, and then he resigns in this position. So this felt like an absolutely... Like, this game just felt so good for my confidence levels, and the same with the game before it. It just felt like... It felt like I was seeing the things that I needed to see. I mean, obviously I blundered. But if he didn't see it either, then I can't fault myself for it too much. I feel like it's very rare that you can put your bishop in the center of the board and fork two pieces like this. But like I was saying, this game just felt very good for my psyche, especially the way that I converted it, because fans of the channel will know that I would say like one of my biggest weaknesses is converting winning positions, and just being able to keep my foot on the gas at the same time as not allowing any counterplay, calculating accurately that I can just take this pawn, because there are plenty of times when I get in positions like this where I just try to slow play it. I'm like, oh, I'm better. Just don't blunder. Just don't blunder. And I will often not play the best move because I'm worried about some sort of counterplay. But here, oops, finding this move. I mean, this move obviously is great too, but finding a move that allows me to force another trade and just keep pushing, and then not letting off the gas until it's either I'm promoting another queen or I'm forcing checkmate. Like, even in my, I don't know what to call it, my nervousness in this position still made me want to push, still made me want to go here and not even see that the pawn was hanging. But it was just me taking those 8 seconds instead of playing it instantly to say like, okay, you know, this is a winning move, this is a winning move, but, you know, let's try to look for better. Anyway, I don't think that I'm going to play any live games today. I'm still just like, I'm feeling a little bit scatterbrained. I don't feel like I'm necessarily in a great headspace for it. But I did want to share these games with you guys because it pushed me back over 1700. So we're just rocking back and forth. Over 1700, under 1700, over, under. And I know I can play with these guys. I know I can beat them. And I know that 1800 is right within my grasp as long as I can keep my emotions and nerves under control. So emotions and time control are definitely going to be my biggest things that I'm focusing on in my coming games. Calculating accurately when defending, all things that I know are my weakest points. I'm definitely trying to work on, and most of those things come from just playing more games. So I'll be training tactics in the background as much as I have been and as much as I will be this week. And yeah, I think that's the goal going into the new year and finishing out this year. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your support. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas if you celebrate it. If you celebrate something else, I wish you very happy holidays. And with all that being said, I will see you tomorrow.